We are on the record in State of Arizona versus Ramon Bueno, CR 2014-149-887-001. Council appearances, please.
Good morning, Judge Ellen Dahl on behalf of the state.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Vernon Lorenz appearing on behalf of Ramon Bueno.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. We're all on it, aren't we? Anything to address before we bring in the jury?
No, Judge.
All right. Let's bring in the jury, please. I should add, for purposes of the record, the witness is on the witness stand. The jury is not yet present.
All rise for the jury.
Got a good morning off. I'm sorry we kept you waiting for a few minutes. We had some logistical issues in me getting to the bench on time, frankly. So we are ready to continue. Ms. Dahl, you are going to continue with the direct examination of the witness, correct?
Yes, thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Detective Butcher, was this a large investigation?
Yes, extremely.
Approximately how many police reports were written?
Over 400.
And were there multiple search warrants conducted?
Yes.
And interviews?
Yes.
Was there an effort to conduct a cell phone analysis on different cell phones that were taken back in 2014?
Yes, there were.
Was that very fruitful for the investigation?
No, ma'am, it was not.
In this case, was Officer Casey, when he was shot, did he still have his firearm or service weapon still in the holster?
Yes, he did. He had never removed it.
I'm sorry?
He had never removed it.
And in fact, was it still in the holster when they were giving him medical aid and taking off the belt?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar, as case agent in this case, with the weapons exchange and bullet count that was conducted with Officers Cruz and Alfano?
Yes, I am.
And was that documented by Officer Jeffrey Gooden in Supplement 183, along with Kendra Eckert, the crime scene specialist who photographed it?
Yes.
Now, Officer Alfano had a Sig Sauer 40 caliber handgun.
Yes.
And he had all Spear 40 caliber Smith & Wesson ammunition.
Correct.
And he was missing cartridges.
Yes.
And was he missing approximately 11 cartridges?
He was missing 11, yes.
Now, Officer Cruz, he also had a Sig Sauer 40 caliber handgun.
Yes, he did.
And he also had all Spear 40 caliber Smith & Wesson ammunition.
Correct.
And he was missing 10 cartridges, correct?
Yes.
So would that mean that there were 21 bullets fired between both Cruz and Alfano during this situation?
Yes.
Now, the name of Johnny Ruiz, that was very important to the investigation, wasn't it?
Yes.
Was that the name that was written by the back rear passenger on the driver's side in the vehicle driven by Lori Richardson?
Yes, it was.
Why was the name, and that was turned out to be fictitious along with, correct?
Fictitious by the person writing it, yes.
And in fact, why was the use of the name Johnny Ruiz important to the investigation related to the defendant?
Actually, a relative of Ramon Bueno, his nephew, who was in custody at the time.
Was it significant that Johnny Ruiz was also documented as a Kofelt Jet gang member?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the date of birth that was given to Officer James Casey was June 14th, 1973, right?
Yes.
Sustained.
What was the date of birth that was given to Officer James Casey?
June 14th, 1973. It was written on the notepad.
And what is the defendant's date of birth?
If I could review my report, please. I don't have that committed to memory.
Would it refresh your recollection to review your report?
Yes, it would.
Please do so.
May 13th, 1975.
Was it significant to the investigation that there was just one digit added to both the month and the day that was given by the defendant?
Yes.
Now, you interviewed James Casey on what date?
On October 10th.
And was that about 4:20 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did that interview occur, ma'am?
At the Good Samaritan Hospital.
Did you digitally record it?
Yes, I did.
Was there something significant about what James Casey said happened before he was shot in the face?
Can you be a little more specific?
Did he indicate that someone in the vehicle was acting odd and it caught his attention?
Yes,
Now, at this point, the investigation was still moving very fast. Is that fair?
that's correct.
And did James Casey give a physical description of the person who was seated behind Lori Richardson, the driver?
Yes, ma'am, he did.
What did he describe that person as?
Described him as a Hispanic male, either balding or with a shaved head, a goatee, and considerably older than the other passengers in the vehicle.
Did he also say that he was wearing a white shirt, white short-sleeved t-shirt, and possibly dark black shorts?
Yes, he did.
Now, this was one day after he identified the shooter as being an individual in the same lineup as Ramon Bueno, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it also one day after he identified Danny Vargas as being the rear passenger side passenger in the vehicle Lori was driving?
Yes.
As part of this investigation, was it significant that the defendant went to the Cold Air Internet Cafe shortly after the shooting?
Yes, it was.
Why was it significant?
We had found a laptop in the vehicle, which belonged to Ramon Bueno. Had he had his own laptop, he likely would have not had to gone to the internet cafe.
Was it also significant that he met someone at the cafe?
Yes,
Why was that significant?
because he possibly was planning a way to establish, where he had been when in fact he had been inside Lori Richardson's vehicle, trying to cover where he had been earlier in the night.
Did it appear from the surveillance photos that he used another individual's phone?
Yes,
Now, as part of the investigation, was there someone by the name of Johnny Ray Garcia that was interviewed?
yes,
And is Mr. Garcia, is he cooperative or law enforcement friendly?
no, he is not.
Did he live at 825 South 30th Avenue, unit number 8?
Yes,
Is that a place where the name Traviesa, Traviesa, was written?
yes,
And whose name Traviesa is associated, whose name is that associated with in this investigation?
Traviesa is the nickname for Valeria Jaime.
Was the bike that Ramon Bueno was seen riding on at the Cold Air Cafe surveillance footage, was that identified as belonging to Johnny Ray Garcia?
Yes, it was.
How close is Mr. Garcia's home to the Cold Air Cafe?
A couple blocks.
I believe where we left off yesterday in Mr. Bueno's interview was at 4928. So I will move forward to that at this point.
Even though I'm not following home, but the way I do it nowadays is because people nowadays think that you're trying to get into the business of their life or run it or tell them what to do. And I said, well, look, I'm going to put it right here. Everything I just said. But it's your choice to let it go in one ear or come up the other or let it stick. But if you let it there, you...
At this point, is he talking about people putting out rumors?
Yes.
You need to go ahead and play with it. I mean, understand a little bit and see what's what. And there's a lot of young people out there. A lot of students. There's that underground of underground. Kind of like white slavery type of pushing. Females are being wow. She's one of them. Right? Her record is locked up. But it's kind of like the movie type of shit, where been out there. And I'm not a captain to say what you mean. But I don't let any female get hit from me or anything like that. But people will take advantage, will try to come up for themselves and not for the individual. There's some two-headed, three-faced snakes out there.
At this point, is Mr. Bueno simply sharing his thoughts on people gossiping and being sometimes betraying other people? He used the term, there may be people with two-headed snakes out there.
Yes.
I will sell their mama if they have a chance. And even though it may not make no sense to you or even has anything to do with what's going on.
You don't have any nicknames?
Mama. Bear.
What's
Teddy bear. Bear.
okay. And Mono?
Mono in Spanish is either bear or monkey.
Okay.
That's it, yeah.
Why was it important to this investigation to know which street name he used?
Many times, people who affiliate with defendants or people we come in contact with won't know a person's real name. They'll know them by a nickname, a street name, or an alias. Any other names? You use any other names?
No. My first, middle, and last.
Have you ever used any other names besides your first and last name?
I was here.
I'm just asking you if you've heard anything.
I heard a lot, and I actually seen you guys before you guys caught me.
Where did you see it?
You know how the old saying, well, the helicopter gave it up right away, but you know that old saying when you're trying to be quiet, you're actually more noisy.
Did he indicate to you, did he ask you, what did you hear? And smile after you asked him if he went by any other names?
Yes.
Why was that significant to the investigation involving Officer Casey?
He was trying to test me to see if I would provide him the name that I knew he had been associated with, meaning Johnny Reese, and I didn't provide that to him, so he kind of smirked to himself.
Later in the interview, did he get a little defensive when the name Johnny Ruiz came up again?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, the one that called me out.
Now, at this point, did he mention that he knew that...
Judge, could we approach?
You may.
And then go outside and I went to do my laundry. I seen something suspicious driving by the alley.
What is Ramon Bueno talking about at this point, Detective?
He had gone outside and saw a vehicle driving by suspiciously. He noticed it, caused him some concern.
And in what context is he providing this to you?
I didn't ask him any questions. He's just a free-flowing narrative. There was nothing to prompt that type of response.
Today? Yesterday. I just remember laser dot on my head.
On what?
From whatever was in the back.
Today? Or I mean, yes, when you right before you picked up?
And I think they were planning to do it, but dude, whoever it was, bumped his front. The officers in the front, officers in the back. And one time he moved there, one time I stopped, I said, hey man, I stood put. And then when they came and got me,
What did he say right there?
He's explaining that there were officers in the front and the back, and that's when they got him.
What word did he use?
Ms. Dahl, I couldn't understand it. I apologize.
When he raised his hands up, do you know what word he used? I should have been more precise.
If you could rewind it just a little bit.
Sure.
I seen something suspicious driving by the alley. Today? Yesterday. I just remember laser dot on my head.
On what?
From whatever was in the back.
Today? Or I mean, yes, when you right before you picked up?
And I think they were planning to do it, but dude, whoever it was, bumped his front. The officers in the front, officers in the back. And one time he moved there, one time I stopped, I said, hey man, I stood put. And then when they came and got me,
What did he say there at the end?
And then they got me. I couldn't understand it.
but they literally bumped it. Meaning that they went as planned. Basically, we weren't there. So, I am who I am, the way I am, from experience.
What did he say there?
I am the way I am from experience.
Not all officers or whatever are some officers that give a fuck and fair, they don't judge. Because as far as everybody knows right now, it's hearsay. I got my ass beat for hearsay. Whether you got anything on me or not, I got my ass beat. My arm.
What did he say there?
He said he got his ass beat for hearsay.
Did he indicate regarding what the investigation may have?
I couldn't understand that part.
Went this way, my leg went that way, my neck went this way. They were trying to literally rip me apart.
I wasn't
I don't
alone.
blame everybody was there, nobody was there. I seen who, what, this and that, but like I said, I don't blame them. But put the bottle to where it goes. Don't go by. Well, I was told it's you.
Huh.
So, what? What do we call that? And they're supposed to be a good guys. I know this. Everybody, no disrespect, I'm not accusing you, but everybody don't give a fuck. I don't care this and that. If you heard what I heard, I literally just like gave up. Well, come on, man, might as well put a gun in my head and just get over it.
And what's your birthday? I'm sorry, I didn't ask.
May 13th, 75. 5 11/13/95. My 40.
Did he give you any information at the end?
He provided his birthday.
So my message, phone and address, mailing address is 4210 West Granada.
Okay.
St. Travis on 85009. That's my mom's house.
In fairness, could his other identifying information, his social security number, have been redacted out of this video?
Yes, ma'am.
Her number is 602-565-4711.
And you said you didn't have a phone, cell phone?
My phone's here, but as far as me owning one, no.
What is he sharing there?
He didn't have a cell phone. He would borrow them, but he didn't have a cell phone of his own.
Who is that, Johnny Reese?
My nephew.
What are you doing at that point in the interview?
I asked him who Johnny Reese was. He said it was his nephew. That was important to me because, again, it was the name written on the notepad that Officer Casey had. It was written by the backseat passenger on the driver's side, being Ramon Bueno.
I have a nephew he's locked up though.
What's his birthday?
What did he say there?
He said he's locked up, though.
About how old is he?
20, between 21 and 24, I think. 22, I think. Why, what do you got to do?
21 and 23?
If you don't mind me asking.
His names come up. I'm trying to associate who knows who, and
He's locked up.
he's locked up.
Yeah, he's been locked up.
Okay.
And he actually caught more time, so what does he got to do with this?
Like I said, it's just names that come up. I'm trying to fill in the blanks. So.
Yeah, I understand, but everything's for a reason.
What did he say there, Detective?
He said, I understand everything's for a reason.
What was that in response to?
Me asking him who Johnny Reese was, and then he was asking me why I wanted to know. I explained to him, I was asking him a lot of questions, wanting to know who a lot of people were because different names had come up. He was prodding me for information as to, number one, how much did I know, and if I recognized him as being associated with that name.
You know everybody, you don't know anybody, so, you know,
Well,
that's what I say.
I ain't hate it, you know what I mean? I got respect for that, but it's just, he's locked up, you know what I mean?
Who's Louis?
Don't know.
You don't know Louis Perez?
A lot of these people don't know.
Don't know him?
I'm faces, you know what I mean?
What is being talked about there?
I was asking him if he knew Louis Perez. He said he did not. That was important because Louis Perez was dating his sister, and that was the coded telephone number found in Louis Perez's wallet inside the Social Security card.
Was Louis Perez interviewed as part of this investigation?
Yes, he was, ma'am.
I taught purposely or by accident to faces.
Who's it? Ida.
I have a sister named Ida.
Okay. Who's she dating?
Don't know. Why?
Just ask him, man.
I literally don't know.
Where's she staying?
The last person I know she was dating got locked up.
Who is that?
Some short fat dude. Kind of older, he's older than me.
What is being discussed there, Detective?
Who Ida was dating, the defendant said he didn't know. He only knew that it was a short, fat person, but he was locked up.
Actually dying. He had to go get that, get his blood seen, the dialysis with it. But I got tired of my sister coming in, he's hitting me this man while I go over there, you know what I mean? Nah, leave him alone. So, I never cared for anybody she was with, whether she was with him or not.
What's his name?
Who?
The guy who,
Sure, that dude.
that's what you call him? You don't know anything?
No, that's just how I'm describing.
You know his name, you just don't want to tell me his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is happening there, Detective?
Still trying to get information as to who Ida's boyfriend is, and he finally admits that he knows the name of the boyfriend but wouldn't provide it to me.
I know a lot.
I have no doubt. Likewise.
Yeah, I know.
What was being said there?
Ramon Bueno had said that he knows a lot. I told him, I know. I said likewise, meaning I know a lot as well.
And I don't mean to be this way.
Did he respond to you when you said, you know a lot?
Yes, he indicated in the affirmative, he said, I know.
But, I mean, it's my life. And if it's already over, it's my life.
What did the defendant say there?
Said it's my life and it's already over, it's my life.
I'm accused of all kinds of shit, even when I'm not even there. So the sad part is like I'm used to it.
At this point, what is he sharing regarding the investigation?
That he's been accused of a lot of stuff, things where he wasn't even there, but he's used to it.
And is it fair to say that there was a lot of people being interviewed during this week that they were looking for Ramon Bueno?
Yes, ma'am, a lot.
Were there a lot of interviews that were being conducted?
Yes.
I was saying that being a comadre, and the mismos fuimos a study rumors. You know what? When you got black females talking,
Yeah.
did you hear? Those are comadres.
You have a moment?
Okay. Gossiping and...
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know Spanish, so...
people will believe, they say you'll believe your homegirl, and we'll call your husband a liar. There's a lot of people out there like that.
What is a homegirl?
Homegirl is a female who associates with the group or the gang. It could be also a girlfriend.
Okay. So the he said, she said thing.
Comadre.
Okay.
That they live their life for that. I mean, that they're so popular.
Okay. I'm going to check on some stuff, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. And candy bar chips, anything like that?
Chips. I'm not picky, I'm not greedy, so
Okay.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hey, is that for me laid out?
We'll be right back. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Mind if I sit down?
Yeah, if you can sit up, because
Everybody gets sleepy when they sign up there in this room.
okay.
Okay.
A couple of things. We have a search warrant here.
For me?
Yeah. So that's going to allow us to take photos, sample your DNA.
There's signed it already.
Yeah, right here. Okay. And then we also have a court order, which to allow us to take handwriting sample, signed by a judge as well.
No.
Okay. So do you want to scoot up there for a minute?
Am I allowed to have a look?
No, help yourself.
The next day, and the next day after that.
Yeah.
Start breathing.
2 minutes, you can do it.
Yeah.
You want to start or not?
Okay.
Detective, what were the search warrants for that you were showing to the defendant?
Search warrant was for photographs, a sample of his DNA, and the court order was to obtain handwriting exemplars.
Was a sample of defendant's DNA taken in this case pursuant to the court order?
Yes, ma'am, and the search warrant also authorized a blood draw.
And the handwriting exemplar, what is the process of getting that?
I read him a statement that I had obtained and instructed him to handwrite the statement that I was dictating, as well as he would do it again, writing all in capital letters. I also requested him to write all the numbers.
Was this the handwriting sample that was submitted to the DPS crime lab where Alan Kreidel works?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
So explain to what I'm doing now.
Okay. You're going to write down, just in regular writing, what I'm going to dictate to you. And then on this other page, you're going to write down the same story, which I will tell you in all capital letters. Okay? So, and it's documented in here that we are authorized by the courts or by a judge. It's just a silly story that I grabbed off the internet. So
There's nothing
this one is.
What was the purpose of getting this handwriting sample in terms of the investigation, Detective?
In order to have a known sample or the known writing from the defendant and compare it to the writing from the notepad that was provided, that Officer Casey had provided to the defendant in the back seat of the vehicle.
Would it be fair to say that this video does not include a significant amount of the time where he was writing and you were giving him the story to write?
That is correct.
Would that also be the case when there were long breaks in the interview?
Yes, ma'am. This is just snippets of the interview.
That usually works a lot.
Yeah. We'll see. The internet casino thing, or this casino air conditioning unit.
I don't really get, or the racing shop, but
Yeah.
I don't really get into it, but I just about today.
You were there.
A lot of times.
Okay.
What are you talking about at this portion of the interview, Detective?
The internet cafe, and he had said he had been there a lot of times.
And I'm talking the week this whole thing happened where the officer was shot. If we just focus on that week.
Yeah, we never set appointments and never really went through.
You set appointments
No,
to go to?
like you yourself. Have you set appointments and you're either late or never went through? You have to cancel.
Yeah. Oh.
I live my days late, day for day, but if I try to do whatever, I don't pay attention to it.
Okay.
What is the defendant sharing with you at that portion of the interview?
He's explaining he doesn't pay attention to dates and times. He doesn't really have a calendar that he goes by. He just goes places when he wants to.
So is why I can't give dates, times, or...
Okay, that's fair enough. Let me ask you this, Ron. When did you were out of town camping, And at the casino. When did you come back into town?
As far as what time it was when I got back,
No, what day?
don't know. But it was between afternoon and evening.
Okay, but you don't know what day.
What were you trying to find out at that portion of the interview?
Establish when the defendant had come back from his camping trip. He was unable to tell me the day, and he could only tell me it was between daylight and nighttime or evening. He couldn't tell me the day, and he could not specifically tell me what time frame either.
It's just
Was it the day?
events or whatever.
Was it the day the officer was shot, or was it the next day?
Yeah, it had to be before.
Okay, so you were back before the officer was shot. Okay.
Even though that whatever on me, yeah.
Okay.
But between the time I got back in the casino, I missed people missed me.
Okay. And did you go to the casino? Again, this is on Buckeye, 31st Avenue area?
You guys been there already?
Yes. So did you go to the casino the day the officer was shot?
No.
Okay. You weren't there the day the officer. Okay.
I don't drink either, and I was drinking Jose Cuervo. Had a couple quick.
Judge, may we take a break? I see an issue with my program starting to freeze. I just need to restart the computer.
Yes, we will take a break. We'll be back on the record when we're able to resolve the technical issues. Please remember that the admonition applies.
Thank you.
All right, the jury.
Please be seated. Ma'am, you may leave the witness stand.
Judge, I'll only need 1 minute.
Okay. We'll probably give the jurors 5 just because they'll be doing what they do. Does anyone else need a quick bathroom break?
Thank you, Judge.